can go ahead and talk about some hard topics, man, that everybody really want to talk about. Everybody want to know what's going on out
What's
here.
the topic?
The topic gonna be old school versus new school. Stuff that you talk about under a shade tree at the domino table. Everybody want to really know what's going on and how you really treating everybody out here. Versus old school versus new school. Talk to me about that.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Give me
That's
something.
right.
Yeah.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Okay,
you
that's
don't
what he
spank
just
your
said.
child. I was just reiterating,
Right.
just for emphasis.
Hey, man,
Okay,
you gotta
so
explain.
I think that you should spank your child
Well,
when they need it in the right
Spank 'em?
context.
Fuck him
Okay?
up.
Because if you don't, guess what? HPD will.
Yeah.
They're out of
will.
control adults. So yes, I do believe in corporal punishment. Y'all know it says it in the Bible. Okay. Okay. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Okay.
Exactly.
There's some truth to this, people.
Because
Anybody else?
yes, because you're building character, in my opinion. Because
Excellent.
if you let a child think that they can get away with everything, you can only tell a child over and over and over for so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Then at some point you have to go ahead and show them. And by showing them, sometimes that means a little spanking. You know what I mean? I ain't saying beat them. I ain't saying don't feed them. I ain't saying none of that. But yeah, you have to get a little physical sometimes. Even if they're, little toddlers, you keep telling them, no, don't do that, don't do that. How many times are you going to just tell them and they're going to just not do it? Sometimes you have to put a little slap on the
Like this?
so that's old school.
on the
No,
wrist,
no.
on the hand.
All
So
right.
that's old school right
Okay.
there.
That's old school.
Old school. Let me just go with this here. Old school. I can remember, man, when the schools can have disciplinary action back then. They can
Yeah.
whoop you, they can paddle you and everything. Now, a kid gets in trouble now, and he know that you can't do nothing to him, and your mama and his mama gonna come up there and clown you if you say something to him. So
Yeah.
how do you win in a situation like that? I don't understand. Somebody should clap back on that there.
Man, I mean, as a teacher, shit, you just do your job and go home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't save them kids.
That's
They
what I thought.
gonna make their own bed. But at the same time, sometimes they was overstepping their boundaries. Some of them coaches was paddling them girls, and they was doing some weird stuff.
Okay, well let's just talk
Yeah.
about at the house though. What you was doing versus back then, old school versus new school. Because I noticed new school don't have the level of respect that they should have for they.
Oh, we kick ass. We kick ass at my house.
But I'm saying, what's the difference? Talk to me. Tell me a little bit different about what you.
What would I do? What you mean?
No, how do you do it differently
Like
now?
for me, people can use the word nowadays. You can use lie, what. We couldn't tell our parents that.
What? But you know what? I
I'm
hate
just
that.
telling you.
You know
I'm
what I hate
just telling
though?
you how
I
it
hate
was.
the fact that
You're
you
not
can call
dealing with
a liar a liar.
Yeah.
If you lying,
You telling a story.
no, you lying.
Yeah.
You
Well,
lying.
well,
back
You
then,
gonna-
it was
and
about
you're
the
going to
respect.
hell.
Lie is too strong for you. That's
You're
right.
lying. You're going to hell. Right there.
That's
So you gonna say what to your parent or ma'am or sir?
Me personally, I'm a ma'am or sir type of person, but yes,
You still,
yes, it's
still a
good.
little new school though. You still a little bit.
What you mean?
You ain't in the Kunta Kinte stages.
No.
We ain't gonna go that
No,
far back, but
we don't like
we
that.
gonna bring it on up, man. Because old school versus new school, I'm looking at these kids now. Don't really have the respect that they should have. And I can understand why they don't. Let me reiterate the reason why they don't have it, because I'm watching these parents. I done lived long enough to watch the different decades come through. I'm watching their parents in the last 30 years curse them out like they was grown ups. Like they was grown ups back then.
I was gonna say
And talk
Sharonika.
bad to them.
Veronica.
And talk bad to them back then, and now they coming up. So the difference is with the old schools, 60 plus years older. Now this last generation, people around 50 years old, watch their kids come up. Now the kids around 25, 30, but they talk bad to the kids. They didn't give the kids no respect. So I
Right.
do understand how they talk. They involve the kids in too much smoking
Yep.
dope. And just any conversation, because old school, you couldn't sit up in no conversation when you
Not
was a
with my
kid
mom.
back then. You
No,
couldn't do it. So now you can do it the different. So
Yes.
respect has been definitely lost right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to redirect my daughter right now. She's 10, and they hear too much. They know too much already from social media and other avenues.
Parents,
So
yeah.
I tell them, if me and my mother are talking, and I realize she's there, I'm like, hey, you need to go play.
Right.
This is a grown folks'
What
conversation.
she
Go
think
play.
about that?
I don't
Because I mean, I got you because you can't whoop them no more. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, I discipline them. See, this is the thing, guys. Me being a therapist, I can speak on this, okay? I'm always going to speak on from a therapist standpoint. These children know now that they can call CPS. We didn't dare say that kind of thing back then.
Yeah, McGruff back then.
Now,
You can call McGruff.
so now I'm going to call CPS if you hit me. First of all, you can discipline your child within reason. Okay,
I
and
understand.
CPS won't do anything because they actually, that's your
As long
right
as
as
you're
a
in
parent.
control, right?
Yeah.
You can just be your child. You know that.
Spanking and disciplining and beating are two different things. That when you're beating and there's neglect and there's things of that nature, that's when CPS has a problem. If you're spanking your child, especially when they act out,
Right.
the
Well,
CPS workers
Well,
like,
I look at it like this. You go on, call them. You
Right,
think you
that's-
think this whooping is
That's what my
bad?
mama used to
You
say.
think this whooping is bad? Wait till you wake up with peanut butter on your butt. That's what they gonna do all kind
Oh
of
my
weird stuff to
God.
you inside that system.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
happens.
jail.
They
Yeah.
get molested, they get raped. You
Sadly.
go, that's what
It's
you
true.
want to do. That's your decision. Them people set that up so that they could do that to you,
yeah,
Well,
and without no ramification.
I'm not dead. I'm not abused. I got
Right.
spankings. I'm a better citizen. I think I'm a better citizen because of it.
I think what I think, and this is just me, my opinion. I think the respect got lost. I'm trying to figure out where did the respect get lost.
Because the parents want to be the children's friend.
Best friend, okay, yeah.
Like, I didn't get to know my mom until I became an adult. When I was a
Same.
child, when her and her friends kicking it, we had to be in the back room, outside playing somewhere. We were not going to be in the same area that they were in. Nowadays, these kids right on side, like how we out here group talking,
Yeah.
they right there on side of them, and they want to put their input on the conversation.
Oh no,
Like,
they definitely don't. They
They
don't
grinds
do
my
it.
ears.
So let me ask you a question.
Really?
Because I'm still old school. I know I am. But what do you do different now when it comes to that now? If your kids intervene in the situation, the conversation, how do you handle? I'm just trying to figure
Well,
out.
my
how you
kids know better because I raised my kids on the old school standard.
Okay.
You know
Okay,
what I mean?
that's what I'm trying to figure
As a
out.
matter of fact, example, all adults in the living room the other day in my mom's house on Sunday. And my daughter was there. She's a teenager, 15 years old. But when things start to get a little bit, I'm like, hey, it's time for you to go on to the back. You know what I mean? Because she can't vibe with us. That's not her area.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even sometimes my children, my older children, and my little sister sometimes get mad because they feel like I'm being, too strict when it comes to the company. She's not in that age, so she has to be in the group that she, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to pull back when it's a different environment.
They don't want you hanging with their friends. So,
For real.
you talking shit, but you want to be involved in everything I do. You can't go hang and do TikTok.
That's true.
What
Yeah.
the hell
Embarrassing.
I'm doing because you embarrassed them. But
Yeah.
but man, I think we really lost and dropped the ball over in the last 30 years. I think we lost 3 generations, and I think we're gonna lose a lot more than that as the years go by. Because if you stop and even think about, I'm looking at these guys that went out and smoked dope and crack and done what they done. I think that's when crack came in on the scene. I think it took so many people out because the parents didn't care no more. They were walking off, leaving the kids wherever they was at, and they was doing what they were doing because they got addicted and they put this crack down to hurt the black people. They really did. I know they did. So and it really did destroy the blacks because now you looking at all these Hispanics coming getting the grandmother's house, mama and paid off, grandmother paid off, and the kids still on drugs and just giving the deed away now, just giving it away now. So I'm looking at the way the generation didn't change, and it don't show no signs of getting no better.
Right.
Here soon. So what do we do as a people? That's what I'm trying to figure out. We're gonna talk old school, new school, but what solutions?
Well,
do
I don't see that big gap because all the gentlemen everybody I know, all the men that I know are great dads, 30-year-old men. So that's the first generation. This is the crack baby generation, right? This the kids who grew up watching people steal everything, go in the house one day, everything's fine, next day we ain't got no TV. And then the next generation is a little wilder. But I feel like they only wild because they're inquisitive and they don't just bow down. And we kind of need that to change the way stuff is
Well,
going.
no, I'm gonna have to cut you off. I'm sorry.
You don't think that?
No. So they need that. So What happened when a kid just walk up and tell his mama F you?
Right.
Come on, man. That's
Well, they've been
disrespect.
doing that. They've been doing that since the 30s and the 40s
Not
and the
like
20s.
they doing it
Not
now.
like that. Okay, hold
There's no
what-
structure
somebody
or
go
guidance.
Slap an old man or something.
Right.
Or
They've been
some
doing that.
older
That's not
person
new
talking about
stuff.
something that total disrespect.
That's not new stuff.
Talking
They've been
from-
doing that. They've been.
Yeah,
Pretty damn
I
new to
understand what you're
me.
saying, Darius.
From
That
where I
has
come
nothing to do
from,
with
it's
Yeah,
the
that
gun.
wasn't like
That's
that.
new like
though.
that.
Well,
The point that they're trying to make is more prevalent now.
Well,
It
it's,
wasn't
it's, it's being
exactly.
videotaped now. That's
No,
it. It's no different than the
no.
police beating people up. They've been doing that. It's been
Right.
videotaped now. It's being shared by the masses.
So did you treat your mom like that?
No.
No,
No,
at
hold
this
on.
table, 4 out of
Yeah.
out of 4.
I've had disagreements with my mom.
Okay, that's something different. Now I think all kids had disagreement with where they feel a certain different
I've
way.
seen older
Shay
people.
says stop riding for your kids when
Totally,
they're
totally.
wrong. You don't ride for your
Yeah.
kids when they're wrong.
I've seen older
Good
people
looking out,
curse
Shay.
their parents
Thank
out.
you,
though.
Shay.
I've seen older people curse their parents
Yeah,
out.
but we
Nia
talking about
said she believes
kids.
that you should whoop your kids.
But then what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if this is your parent, I still don't cuss my parents out. So what I'm saying, I've seen older
Because
people
of their
in their
respect.
40s and 50s cuss their parents out there in their 60s and 70s. I don't think that this generation is lost at all. I feel like
That's okay. We supposed to be.
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
no, I feel like they're not afraid to question. And that's what we needed. Because
I
there was
think
so
they
many
see
times
their
when you didn't have an
influence-
opinion no more.
They're influenced a lot by social media and other things that makes them act out. Because back then we didn't have those other avenues. When school was out, for summertime you was stuck at the house or whoever around the neighborhood. Now you get to interact with people on social media and still be influenced.
Yeah.
So no,
So when
you
you're-
have YouTube that the kids can watch porn or whatever. They're being exposed to too much.
But we've been watching porn.
But not like that. It wasn't
Not
that.
overly
it wasn't
blatant
like
like that.
You,
No,
you
not
wasn't.
that
You didn't have
blatant, no.
access to it.
No.
Like
Oh, I had access.
yeah, you probably
Yeah,
had access.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
come on, like
You
Darius
know,
said,
but-
we had videotapes. We had to go sneak everything.
Right.
You had to go sneak in there and put it
Exactly.
right there.
Yeah, mommy
Right
at
where you
work or
got it
something.
at.
But you can be right next to your mama on the couch right now
Yeah.
watching porn, and they don't even know you got earplugs.
If
in
they
your
have a
ear.
cell
Come
phone,
on,
boom, it's
let's
right there.
come.
They have
It's-
access to it now.
access is-
So, but that's on the negative side of the accessibility. What about all the information that they privy to that makes them a little bit more qualified to ask the questions?
Well, I can understand where you
Well,
coming
everybody's
from,
on the
Dennis, because shit, you
Yeah.
25, 30 years old.
34.
No, that's a big gap. That's a big age gap from saying
So-
old school,
Look,
new school.
Maya
So I understand, I
said.
respect where you
Maya
coming from.
said she was born in this generation and don't do the things that her generation do. It's really about either being a follower or a leader, I
That's
guess.
cor-
But
yeah.
she was taught. But she was also taught that too.
No,
Yeah.
you right.
You know what I mean?
You're 100% right.
She was
Because,
taught.
because I had friends, and my friends used to go steal cars. They stole cars, man. I could have been right there caught up in that situation, but I'm gonna tell you why I did not do it. Because I was shamed to do something.
Right.
I was
Disappoint
ashamed.
your
I didn't want to
parents.
disappoint them.
Yes.
It wasn't that I
Yes.
thought that they gonna beat me or do this.
Right.
I was shamed because of myself, because I had enough character, respect for
That's it.
myself, and that's what we're going back to respect.
And a lot of these
But
kids
hold
don't
up,
have
but
that.
hold
They don't
up.
have that.
But you just named the time frame, which was the old school. There was other guys
Yeah.
that's right next to you in the old school. So
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's an old school, new school thing. It's a core value thing. It's what's going on at the house. Like you say with your daughter, she learned something from you, and
But
you gave it to her.
majority, the people that surrounded around her were doing the opposite, is what I'm saying.
But,
No, I
that, but,
understand where you're
but
coming
both of
from.
them
Yeah, I
were
get what you're
saying it
saying,
came from the
but
house.
the majority was doing. Like these kids now, parents, like I say, I would say this again. Parents want to be their children's friend these days.
And it's
You know what I
okay,
mean?
but you still have to have. I'm sorry, you have to have some respect with it, though.
Yeah.
It's okay to be their friend.
I don't want to be my kids' friends until they become adults.
Yeah.
We can be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your
kids.
Yeah, kids. No, we in a different level. I want you, baby, to talk to me about whatever, but we're not friends because I don't want you. Because we play. Me and my 15-year-old, we play all the time. We do TikTok. We do all that stuff. But when it comes to me being serious, she needs to know I'm serious.
I thought me and you was friends. We were
I
friends
mean,
when
we
you was
friends,
12 years
but
old.
I'm still gonna respect.
Well,
You know, I'm
you
not
have
gonna
to
never
define
disrespect you.
the relationship. I think is where Alicia's coming from. Like you can still be friendly with your child. You can spend time with them, watch movies, have talks, go do this and that. But at the same time, they have to understand that Mama means business. I'm
Right.
your parent. I am not one of your little friends, as most parents say.
And I think that's just quality time. That's not being a friend. That's
Yeah,
quality.
because I did have to kind of put my daughter back in check at one time because I had got a little, more
Yeah,
lenient
too.
with her because she was the youngest. So she got this little outfit and thought
Reel
that
her
she
back in, yeah.
paid for herself that she could wear. And I'm like, I don't care if you paid for it or not. I said no.
Yeah.
I'm the parent.
Well,
And that's what it is.
So what do you feel about, like, me personally, at my house? I apologize to my kids. I know back in the day,
nothing wrong with that.
back in the day, you don't question your parent, nothing like that. So my kids have a good question. I'm gonna sit down and take the time to answer. So back in the game, now the old school way was, man, don't question me because I said so. That
Yeah,
was
that's
it.
that, yeah.
And so I feel, again, like I say, I think that these kids are more qualified to ask questions, or maybe the adults are more qualified to actually make a change because they're willing to listen.
Yeah.
Right, it's a
But-
mixture because
Yeah, the world gonna
it's a
change. I agree
yeah,
with you on that.
because like it was the same time that I'm talking about. I got on her and she went to this mode, but then I passed by and the new school of what I used to be, versus the old school me wants to be like, going. But I was like, no, I couldn't do it. I had to stay strong and firm on what I said and keep on moving because if I renege on that, then she's gonna use that. You
So
know what I mean?
let me cut in and ask you a question then. So you think and I know you can't really compare it because you're not old as I am. But what do you think as a society now, majority wise, the respect level is there? Tell me what you think about that, majority wise.
I think as a whole, our society is turned into an individual society. So every individual is it's on an individual basis. So if you don't respect me, I don't respect you. So I saw.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
my apologies. Go ahead.
I saw I was watching Fargo, and the guy and Chris Rock, his character, steps down to the kid's level and he says, "You see how I'm sitting down, I'm talking to you? I respect what you got to say. I come down here to your level to make sure that you understand that I care about what you got to say. If nobody comes down here to talk to you, they don't respect you."
That's
and
correct.
I felt like that made a lot of sense to me in the moment because if you really care about what a child has to say and you don't just dismiss, oh, that's a kid, kids don't know nothing. Oh, I've been on the earth 34 years, this 7-year-old don't know nothing more than what I know about this. I think that you're doing yourself a disservice and you're really putting a blockage in that child's head.
Well, I'm one of them parents that I will listen. I always have listened.
Right.
So let me say this here. So as a majority, to answer the question is as a majority again now, because you don't have to be doing nothing now. A kid just can talk right there like you ain't nobody. You 50 years old, 60 years old, and curse and talk like. So that come from the house. They ain't get no training. But
Right.
social media got everybody to feel like they can say anything with this auto grand theft shit and all this craziness.
Right.
Now, rebel against authority and the law and everything. So that's the part that I don't understand because you can have a 3-year-old kid and walk up, man, cussing,
Right.
oh man, F old school. God damn.
Yeah.
That
That's
goes
old
from
school.
what people say, do as I say and not as I do.
Yeah.
But people tend to say that, oh no, if they see you do it, they should do it. Which in some instances it's true, but you need to know that you stay in a child's place. You know what I mean? Because you're not at that level where you can do what I do. I pay these bills. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
I go in the kitchen and cook food. Can you do that? No, you can't. Stay in your place.
So I go right back to again, like you say. Back then, I'm going way back to when I came up.
Yeah.
And things. It was violence. It was all the same shit. Riots and the Black Panthers and all the gang stuff. It was the same thing, but it wasn't as bad as it's getting now.
Yeah,
because let me finish. Hold on. You almost lost my train of thought.
My bad.
I think I did lose it. Because back then, the reason why, because you didn't have as many pedophiles, you do have more now. So somebody can come to your house and tell you, back in my day, say such did such and such, and they didn't even question the grown up because 8 out of 10, because they knew that grown up wasn't gonna be lying on you for one, and for two, they already know you. So they already thought about, man, I know him, he did do this, and that's what I did one time with my son one time before. The teacher told me some stuff, and I said, hey man, that sound like him. Every damn thing you saying, that's him. That's him. So you got to know your kid enough to know when somebody comes say something, to know that, hey man, is this, what reason would this man 6, 70 years old come and say, well, they don't like me. You know a kid, they don't like me.
Yeah.
Well, they just picking on me. Man, but that's come from credibility you already had with that neighbor you might have had, or that person that was on the street
Man.
back then that could say something to your kid and
But
adhere to it.
that's not true. It's been women been getting molested. Kids been getting molested since time old school 30s and 40s, and
We
they
were
got
talking, let's face
you said there's more pedophiles now than it was back then. There may be a more comfortable pedophile culture.
I did say that.
But back in the day,
It was just
they
a
was
lot of-
touching them kids.
I agree with you on that.
And those kids was getting scared.
They were getting away with it more then.
Those kids was getting scared, and when Uncle such and such was right there, or even Auntie such and such was right there, and they would, why you acting like that with your auntie? Why you acting like that with your uncle? And now you scared. Now you like, well, I better go and do it. I'm gonna get a whooping. Because nobody cares to understand what the child has.
Well, I don't
going
think
on.
nobody even own that no more. The kids, they already know they got plenty of protection now.
Yeah.
They ain't worried about that. They can call the law on your ass right now.
Right.
They ain't worried about nothing.
But
so they ain't worried about
when
that.
you adopt that old school mind frame, it takes that freedom away from the child to think like that.
I think actually people believe the kids now more than they did then.
I know they do.
Yeah.
But there's people
Because it was so secretive then.
Well, the old school,
Yeah.
they didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They was getting somebody to pay the bills. And,
Right.
And they just didn't listen. So mama was really weak because they knew nobody ain't gonna believe, and you finna put this out there. So now you finna shame the whole family.
Right.
So so I understand all that.
Yeah,
You're right.
you know
'Cause
what?
you gonna shame the whole
And
family. But now that
That
don't
was
go
totally
no more.
wrong.
Yeah.
Because now, I, as a therapist, am fixing a bunch of broken adults because they
Right.
want to hush-hush about it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, that was
yeah,
the
yeah.
wrong thing to do. You always have to create a space for your children to come to
It
you.
had to be safe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and be able to communicate with you.
And
And
they
then you have to believe them.
And,
You know?
and then don't you want to be the first one? Man, I smoke some weed. You know, then you want the kids to be comfortable enough to come and
I'm
say,
very
man,
transparent with my children.
right, I smoked some weed. Oh, I had sex. I want to know, like, I got a daughter.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's part of life, right? And I got a son too, but my daughter's older. I want to know that. I know she's not
So
going
she's
to tell
13,
me.
you
Yeah.
cool with talking to her about sex right then?
I've already had that conversation.
No, I'm
Me
just
too.
asking.
Do you want to know how it went?
No.
Oh,
There
yeah,
are
I'm finna tell you.
9-year-old mothers.
I'm finna
I
tell
know
you.
needs to be had.
I told her there's certain girls who get treated a certain kind of way because of the way that they carry themselves.
Excellent.
You can be a hoe or you can be a good girl. It's, hey baby, it's your body. You do what you want. Nobody, man. But there's a tension that comes with each role that you choose,
That's it.
and that's how it's gonna play out. So your body, I can't go to school with you, and they doing it at school. They doing it on the bus. They doing it. They sneaking out the window right now. They whatever's going on.
That back in the day.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
right.
But you will get a reputation and you will get a label, whether or not you like it, whether or not it's right, whether or not it's your body. The attention that you get is going to be relative to the way that you present yourself. And if we know that we can go over there and touch on you, we're going to touch on you. And we're going to treat you, we're going to laugh at you, and you can't be my girlfriend because everybody else come over here and touch on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we've had that talk. Now, I don't want to, obviously I don't want to
been
do
in
it.
It's
that
something-
situation where I had that
But
conversation.
it's some
Yeah.
things, I don't care how open you make your kids feel like they can be transparent. Some things they're just not going to tell you.
Well, they ain't gonna tell you. They ain't
Just
gonna
not
tell
going to
you.
tell you. They'll go to maybe your sister or your brother or somebody like that and then find their way to tell you. But your child is not going to tell you everything.
And this is what I was thinking. A lot of times, and it's a fine line. You don't never know how to really parent because you don't get no structure.
Right.
Nobody don't really know, and every kid is individually different, so you don't know what it is. Cause sometimes you can be saying one thing to a kid, and they think you're saying something. They think, oh, okay, it's okay then. That's what he said. It's
Right.
okay to go do it. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you break it back down, the kid mind is not equipped to be able to take that kind of information and make a good decision. The reason why I say this, they won't even let you drink till you're 21. So they know your mind have not developed yet. You still got a kid mind. You can't handle it. You're going to make a kid decision. Even in the Bible, they say, you know, I was a child and I had childish ways. As I came to an adult, I had adult ways. So you got to stop and think about the child they don't have that. They might be standing up tall, looking grown and everything, but their mind ain't completely developed yet, and they probably smart in so many different areas.
Right.
But you gotta live it to know it. You gotta live it. So, and I understand where you come from. How do they live it? They gotta make their own mistakes. That's the only way they gotta do it. But
they
certain
need
stuff you
guidance,
can
too.
say, you can put it. Yeah, that's
They
right.
need guidance because
You
you
can
can't
teach it,
just let a kid do whatever they want to do. Because if they do whatever they want to do, they're gonna go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, have to get up and go to
Gotta be
school,
some structure.
you know, and tired, can't make good grades. Come home, they room
That's
gonna be a
right.
mess.
That's right.
They're not gonna go and take a bath.
Gotta have
They're
some
gonna brush their
structure.
teeth.
Yeah,
We
they
have
do.
to teach them certain things.
They
You
gotta
know
have
what I
some structure.
mean?
They gotta have some structure.
It's things that we have to teach
Yeah,
that
you
they
gotta
can.
train
They're
your
not
child.
gonna learn on their own. They just not.
Well, here's some new age shit I be doing. So like, if you cutting up whatever you want to stay up all night, I told you to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'll let you stay up all night, do your thing. At 6 o'clock in the morning, we gonna work out. Let's go and get the day. Let's go and get the day started,
That's
baby.
dope, man.
You're doing your thing all the way to 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. That's
They
cool.
said kids need structure. They
Yeah.
definitely need
Yeah,
structure.
the world needs structure.
The word, yes.
You
What
gotta
they
have-
think law enforcement is out here
That's
for.
what it is.
That's structure.
That's
Because
what it
if
is,
everybody
actually.
can do whatever they want to do, this world will be crazy.
Absolutely.
Way more crazy than it is. Because it's already crazy.
Because you stop and think about it. If you can do what you want to do, like you say, you wouldn't have to do nothing.
Yeah, laws
So
are
there
in
got to
place
be
for a
some
reason,
structure in life.
to keep control.
People wouldn't cut off drinking when they out, you know, because they don't have any consequences.
No,
You
that
know what I mean?
That's what you
And that's what I say about, that's what I'm talking about discipline. It should be consequences. You
There
know,
gotta be
because if you don't
consequences. I
have
agree
if
with
you don't
you.
have consequences,
gotta
then you
whoop
don't
some
feel
ass.
like you can do whatever you want to
Yeah, we
do.
got whoop some ass.
You got to. That's in the Bible. You got to whoop some ass. That's-
Right.
I'm just saying. Not in them terms, but
Right.
if you stop and think about the world, the way the world is, just like you said, at least you made a lot of sense when you said that. It's got to be some consequences behind your actions.
Right.
So guess what? I remember my dad used to tell me all the time, man, you know what, son? This finna hurt me more than hurt you. And I'm like, what the hell? You finna whoop my ass. This stuff finna hurt you. But now being an adult, I understand
Right.
that he meant that he loved me enough because he knew I'm trying to keep you out of trouble.
Right.
Because if you stop and think about right now, you know, you go and whoop somebody right then. When you can't whoop me, I'm gonna talk for me. When you came and whooped me, right then I hated your ass.
Right.
I wish something happened to you and you fell off a building. Cause I'm mad. I'm a child.
Right.
I'm a child. I wish something happened to your ass. I wish somebody come whoop your ass. For real, man.
You
I
gonna sit
feel
back and be
all
like,
of
yeah,
that.
what you did.
That's right. You really want to see some punishment be put back on them, but now
Right.
as you grow up and become a grown up, you can sit back and reflect now and laugh about it and say, hey man, that was the best thing they did. Is whoop my ass. 'Cause
Yeah.
if they didn't whoop my ass,
Right.
I wouldn't be right here.
My
They should've
kids
whooped
hate it. Like, I kind of changed the dynamic of my discipline. I think they hate for me to talk to them more than they hate for me to lecture them. When I sit there and lecture them, it's like torture, you know. And then after that, I'll sit there and be like, and you need to write an essay about why you did what you did. This is me trying to transition into the new school. But when it's something that warrants a paddling, I'm gonna give you that.
Man, you know what I
mean?
just thought about? My worst punishment. I didn't have some punishments. And my worst punishment was my mama made me watch Top Gun and write a paper about it. And it was I was like, this shit is stupid. Everybody coming to my house, oh man, you in trouble, you get to watch a movie. I said, it's stupid. I don't want to do this. And I mean, I still was messing up after that, but I'll remember that. That
So
was
you
probably
remember
my-
Top Gun right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, to this day.
Yeah,
That's
that's
stuck with you.
memorable.
Yeah.
I hated that.
What you said, at least you're right, because even way back then, my parents were whooping first. What they say, whoop ass first and then ask questions.
Mhm.
I can remember when it was going like that.
Yeah.
But I can remember when my dad started to make the transition. You know, as you start to grow up, he had to start to parent me a little
Right.
different. And I remember him start telling me, "Hey, just go and then get on your knees." And I'm like, "What? On my knees? Man, I want a whooping where I can go back outside and play."
Yeah.
Because I was going to school getting a whooping every goddamn day, and I can go back and do what I'm doing. So I did hate it when they put me in the corner, put me in timeout, when they started to come with the new way and stuff.
Right.
So I hated that when they did start the transition.
Right.
So that was.
Yeah, I just think you gotta keep it in context.
It should be a mixture.
The
of
discipline
balance.
should fit the consequence. The punishment,
Right.
you know, the punishment should be appropriate. Like, so sometimes, you know, you can't play the video game, and I think sometimes that hurts them worse than corporal
Oh,
punishment.
Yeah,
no,
take
yeah.
your phone
When
from
I
them.
do spank them, it's for something very serious.
Right.
Because you can't continually spank a child for everything because
No.
it's gonna lose its effect.
Yes.
You have to. You make a
Oh,
point
it
when you
loses
say,
potency, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Spank
like
them all day.
when my babies were little, if like I said, I called them. You know, they run out to the street. See, mommy's tall. Mommy can see that car coming. You can't see that car coming. So when I call you come to me.
Right.
You know, and I've several other people that I know have done the same thing. It's like, that's when we spank you because you can lose your life. I'd rather spank you
Right,
behind now than be
exactly.
putting you in a casket. That's just how I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
So, a lot of times I use time out and I take privileges too. It just depends on what the
Right.
action
So
was.
let me ask you. You got teenage kids. So how you discipline now? If they're teenagers now. What? How do you? Because you got to change everything now. You can't spank them no more.
Yeah, well, my son is
I know
taller
you
than me now.
spanking your kid. Okay, I'll finish
So I have really good conversation with him. They know I'm not playing, and I tell them all the time, you may grow to be 7 feet tall, but I will
Right.
still reach up there and snatch you.
Exactly.
And he knows that. Because why? Let me tell you why. When he was like this, I spanked his behind.
And he remembered that.
Okay? So then you train them up and then they
Right.
know you mean business.
Exactly.
Train them up.
Exactly.
You gotta start here. You can't, like a tree. You know, when you first plant a tree, y'all
You
know,
can bend them.
when it gets to be an old tree, you can't bend that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? People want to start punching their kids when they get 18 and 20.
Yes.
No, you have to spank them when they're small
Yes.
so that they know you mean business and growing up, and then you don't have to do that. Like,
No, you
I
don't.
can talk to my kids, or I can get close to their face
Right.
and tell them,
Exactly.
we can joke and play, like Alicia said, we
Mhm.
joke and play, but they know what I mean business. I
Exactly.
tapped that behind
So-
when they were little.
So
Exactly.
okay, now I'm gonna tell you what that says
The
to
fear
me.
in them.
Well, I don't think it's so much as fear because they know. Because when I was 19 years old, man, my dad hit me in the mouth. He thought I was whooping my girlfriend, but and I wasn't doing it. But it was go back to what we started out with. It was the respect. It ain't that your kid know that you can't beat him now,
Right.
but he respects you
That's
because you respected him.
Mm-hmm.
He know. I knew at 19, man, I probably could have gave my dad a hell of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost 70 years old. But guess what? Hey, I put my head down. I didn't even look in his eyes because I
Right.
respected him.
Exactly.
I wanted to look my dad man to man in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, no,
But these kids
I'm-
do
that's
that
what I'm
these
trying
days.
to say.
True story.
But they've been
Because
doing
they
it though. You right, dude. No, the white kids been doing
And
it.
it also,
Absolutely. Not all of them.
No.
Some of their parents believe in corporal punishment and they'll tap them.
but
But culturally, y'all know historically, black people have a
right.
Yeah.
more likelihood of spanking. But like
Right.
what you guys were talking about, the level of disrespect.
Yeah.
I know when I was little, and you know, when we in middle school, we hang with our friends. You know, you get away from school, you want to cuss and stuff like that. But if an adult walk by,
Yeah.
no cursing. Not
Exactly.
even as a parent. I have been in a store and been appalled at children.
Yes.
My son's age.
Cursing.
I walk up and they're still cursing. And I'm
Yes.
just like,
No respect at all.
I ain't gonna lie, we used to do that.
but I hear this now.
No.
That don't look good on your parents anymore.
But well,
It doesn't.
doesn't.
because I was bad. Yeah, but let me,
It's okay.
what I was about to tell you was,
I messed up one time.
yeah, I'm saying, yeah, right.
I respect my elders.
But
I'm sorry.
again, from this story,
Yeah.
your daddy was obviously I hear a lot of stories about your dad. So your dad was prevalent in your life. So I feel like if a child doesn't have their father around, and then their father comes around and try to chasing them when they 17, 18 years old.
Well, yeah.
Who are you talking to? I'm finna beat you up.
Yeah.
I done learned how to fight on my own. I learned how to fight on my own.
You still should try to fight your
No. You have biological parents, and then you have parents. You have a father, and then you have a sperm donor.
Speaking of that, do you think that it should be the same privilege. Like if we're what they call it, when you have a step parent or whatever, co-parenting with the step. So do you think that the other parent should be able to, give them
They should be able to.
Yeah, I mean, if they're a trustworthy person,
If they respect you.
Yeah, there you go.
Should they be able to set rules and all those type of things?
Yes,
It should be as if it's their child, right?
It's one house, and y'all the king and the queen.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're talking about marital relationships, like if you're married.
Whatever.
But I still think at the same time they need to have a conversation with you as well. It needs to be both of you guys. To a certain extent.
No.
Yeah.
And I got you on that. Somebody just not coming into it.
Yeah.
But if you've been together 5 years, and you feeding this kid, and you buying toys, and you doing every damn thing, and you've been shown not to be a molester, and you a good person.
Yeah.
Somebody can tell your character by now. You say, if you don't know my character, what they say, if you don't know me by now, you'll never freaking know me. Yeah. So if you think this about me, I don't need to be with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't need to be with you. So that's my point.
Exactly.
I'm gonna draw the line right there. It ain't got to be in the sand. It can be in the goddamn concrete. If you don't trust me, I need to get the hell out of here. And I've been in situations where I've seen somebody trying to put a little bitty moves on me when I'm saying something to their kid, and I said, "What?" I said, "Shit, I need to go." And guess what? And I can hear my mama's voice. You need to get out of there. Because I knew it was more to the story than what they said.
Yeah.
It was some other shit that you seen some underlying issues somewhere else, or you had some abuse somewhere.
Because their parents can be more of a parent to the actual biological parent.
Yeah.
So
say
it's like,
it again for the people in the back who didn't hear.
Their parents can be more of a parent
Absolutely.
than the biological parent.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
yes.
I feel like it should be a shared,
Shared life,
situation.
yeah.
It
Team
should be
effort.
one. But yeah, we talked about this subject for a while.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna let DL Swag close it out.
I'm not closing out. I still got a couple things.
But let's talk then.
It was
You close out.
something I'm finna say something about. I
Pope.
can't remember what it was.
Hey, you ever pulled some rice in the corner and told your kid to kneel on it?
Damn.
That what you said?
No, I ain't say that.
You ain't
That
never
sound like
used to
some
do
brutal
that?
shit.
That was terrible.
Yeah,
I heard about that type of stuff.
Do what now? Repeat, please.
Pull some rice in the corner and tell your kid to kneel on it.
On their knees? Oh my God, that's torture. See, we're not talking about that type of
Don't
stuff.
do that.
We talking about like back in the day when they asked you to hold some books and don't let their leg down.
Yeah.
Or you gonna swap.
What about make them lay upside down on the chair and you put a towel over their face and you pour water bottles
Come
on
on,
Hey,
it?
man, that's some military
No,
shit
like
ass shit.
That's crazy.
We gonna go ahead and close this subject,
Yeah,
guys,
because
man.
of him, for
This
sure.
your boy DL Swag. Don't forget to share and like and invite or whatever you're doing, man.
All
We
right,
just
y'all.
want to say peace to you. We love you. We'll catch you later. One group hug, baby. All one.
Absolutely.
All
Spank
right.
those kids. It's okay.
Thank them. It's all right.
Whoop ass.